All right, welcoming you to Chair Yoga. Thank you so much for joining me live. And if you're joining me on the recording, appreciate you taking care of yourself in that way. So let's get rolling. Please feel free to grab a block or pillow and set up your space however you like. I'm going to come to my seated posture, kind of at the edge of my chair. And I might grab a block and squeeze that block between my legs for a little bit of anchoring down. So we know that yoga is very good for stress management. A lot of us are experiencing high levels of now chronic stress because of very many reasons. We know that yoga is good for immune system function, and this is very important, not only just at this time of year, but in this time of the world that we are living in. And we know that yoga is good for all overall well-being. So I hope that that will address a few of the things that maybe we're interested in today. Our class today will feature some breathing. We'll do 3-part breath, bees breath, some gentle warm-ups, some postures that are for the chair, that are adapted for the chair, some postures that are about standing. And of course, those postures that are about standing might help us improve balance. And then we'll wind down with another meditation and some breathing. Does that sound good? That's kind of our template for today. Beautiful, guys. Okay, so coming to sit in your upright posture, we're going to take a little squeeze to that block and then release. I might lift up my toes, spread them wide, plant them back down. Just kind of affirming my position here on the earth, on my chair, and making any other movements so that I might stay in this posture for a minute or two. So that might mean a little neck circle, although we will be tending to the neck, maybe a shoulder circle. Anything, any little kinks you want to get out before we dive into some breath work. And welcoming you, Mary Clark. So coming to sit tall with a block between the legs. And then I'll begin to turn my attention inward by softening my gaze downward or by closing my eyes. And just beginning to notice how I'm doing today. And maybe connecting with the reason why I'm here. What do I hope to achieve by attending these classes? And I'll begin to notice my breath. Breathing in, nice, soft, easy breath. Breathing out, maybe out of the mouth if you need. Breathing in through the nose. Out through the nose or mouth. One more time, in through the nose. Out through the nose or mouth. Beautiful. And now I'll invite you to rest your hands on the belly. As we move into 3-part breath, I like to break the breath down into 3 segments. Probably breathing into the belly is the most challenging for most of us. So I'm going to give this a whirl. What's really helpful to me has been squeezing the block as sort of a counter pose to that breath in. So what I'll do is I'll squeeze the block and I'll release the block. I'll squeeze the block and I'll release the block. Okay, so now take a breath into the belly. And on your exhalation, squeeze the block. Inhale, release the block, fill up the belly. Exhale, light pressure on the block. Inhale, softening, filling up the belly. Exhale, squeeze the belly in, squeeze the block. Maybe 1 or 2 more like that. Really just seeing if you can feel the breath moving into that belly space. And it's challenging, right? So releasing the hands down for a moment, one of the reasons why we do want to build up the ability to breathe, fill up the belly, and bring the breath down into a deeper place is that we're moving the diaphragm more. And when we move the diaphragm more, so many good things are happening. We're toning the vagal nerve, which is so important for our stress response. And in addition to that, we are moving the lymph fluid, right? So that's a reason why to do belly breathing. Also calming, calming, calming. Now I'm going to bring my hands up to my rib cage. And if this feels uncomfortable for you, you don't have to do it. You can just imagine. And I'm going to try to flare my rib cage out as I inhale. And exhale, I'll squeeze in with a little bit of effort. Inhaling, lifting the side ribs out. Exhale, also challenging, different set of muscles, right? Breathing in, rib cage out. Breathing out. Maybe another few breaths like this. And we're helping all of those little muscles that are between the ribs, the intercostals, stay supple. And those accessory muscles are responsible for 25% of your respiratory effort. So that's why we want to do side breathing. Chest, okay, so hands on the chest. We're going to inhale and lift the heart. And this one feels a little bit easier to me. I don't know about you. Maybe closing the eyes again and just breathing into the hands. When I'm doing a more active exercise, breathing into the chest is more available to me. And connecting with the heart space is another really great reason to breathe into this area. The thymus gland is here, very important for immune function. Breathing into the heart. All right, guys. Maybe one more like that. So good. And now we're going to try to put all of that together. And this is like I'm throwing what I would call a more difficult, more challenging breath practice at you on our first day, because I want us to carry this through our series. I want to return to this many times because I find it so beneficial. So let's give three-part breathing a try. The biggest takeaway I want to plant with you is that just make sure it's an easy breath. Don't stress out if you don't feel it here or there or everywhere. Just make sure it's an easy flow, and eventually you'll hit all those places. Okay, so coming back into my posture, finding, a little bit of internal connection, and then seeing if I can inhale into the belly, side ribs, chest, and releasing back down from there. Breathing in belly, side ribs, chest, and release. Filling up the belly, the rib cage, and the chest, and sliding down from there. And if there is an area where you have difficulty feeling the breath, you can place the hands there as a means of support. Maybe finding one or two more three-part breaths. And then returning to an easy, normal breath without so much focus. We are going to return to that at the end of our class. But to start our class off properly, I'm going to bring my hands together at heart center. And we're just going to take 3 bees breaths together to invoke some of that beautiful resonance and vibrational healing that I am such a big fan of. Bees breath, inhale through the nose, exhale, create a humming sound with the mouth closed, okay? Breathing in. Wonderful, guys. So let's go ahead and take the block down onto the floor if you've been using one. And I'm going to get my spine moving a little bit, and then we'll come to all the joints in the body as a warm-up. So first and foremost, the spine feels like it needs to move for me this morning. I'm going to start by straightening my arms and pulling my belly in and tucking my chin just a little bit. If you're somebody caring for osteoporosis, maybe this is where you stay. If you'd like to move a little bit deeper, you could round the back even further. And then from here, I'm going to sit up tall, draw my elbows back, push my belly and my chest forward, squeeze the shoulder blades together. That's arching the back. And then we'll just move back and forth between those two, straightening the arms, rounding the back gently, lifting the heart. Elbows back, shoulder blades squeezed. Maybe you do this movement with the breath incorporated. I like to inhale as I lift my heart and exhale as I round, but you could do whatever feels best for you. Getting into your own rhythm. Feeling what it is like to have your body today with all of its various peccadillos, right? Little idiosyncrasies, little asymmetries. This is the beauty of being human, right? And then we'll come back up to a neutral posture when you're ready. And bring the arms down at the sides, wiggle the fingertips, maybe reconnect your feet with the earth by picking up the toes, picking up the heels, bringing a little bit of vitality into the lower limbs. And then I'll release my feet down and see how it would feel to lift the arms out to the sides, right? Lifting the arms out to the sides, hugging the muscles along the bones. Right? And then I'll give you guys a big thumbs up. And I'd like you to do the same, all of us together. Big thumbs up. And I'm just noticing what this feels like now to bring my thumbs to point behind me and then forward and maybe down. Right? You're modifying this as need be. Thumbs back and thumbs down, and we're just breathing along with this movement. And maybe you can notice when the thumbs are back behind you, an openness across the chest. We're going to remember this for our warrior two a little bit later. All right. And then I'll go ahead and maybe do one more. That's great. That's great, Mary Jo. And then releasing the arms down and maybe rolling the shoulders up, back, and down a few times. Trying to really concentrate on more of the back and down as opposed to the up, because I'm already so good at bringing my shoulders up by my ears, and that's exactly what I don't want to do. So back and down, but a little bit of up is great too, because I can feel the shoulder blades kind of sliding around. All right. And then from here, I'll bring my hands back to my lap and just tend to the neck for a moment, a place where we carry a lot of stress and tension. Raise your hand if you have a tight neck or have had a tight neck and experienced tightness there that's noticeable. Yeah, lots, most of the hands going up. So I'm going to go ahead and tuck my chin. And on my inhale, bring my chin up to the right shoulder. Exhale the chin back down. Inhale, chin to the left shoulder. Exhale, release back down. Breathing in to the right side. Exhale, release center. Inhale, left. And you could do this slowly and just explore one more time on each side. And then we're releasing back to neutral. And I'm just going to tilt my right ear towards my right shoulder. Hold for a breath. Release back to center. Tilt my left ear towards my left shoulder. No shoulder involvement here. And release. And we're going to move from side to side. You can do this at your own pace. And if there's a side that feels tighter, maybe you stick with that side, right? Maybe the other side doesn't really need as much stretch in the upper trap muscles. So you can kind of explore this here. I know that moving my head to the left feels a lot more challenging to me because my right neck muscles are really tight. All right, guys, and then we'll release back to center. And this has been so useful for me, strengthening the neck muscles as a means to calm them down. I'm going to interlace my fingers behind the base of my skull, and I'm just going to push my head back into my hands. Big breath in. Exhale, release the effort. Yeah, that's good, Kathy. Big breath in, push back into the hands. Release the effort. And one more time. You could hold a little longer if you like. And release. And then I'll bring my hands around to my forehead, right? Maybe it's one hand, maybe it's both hands, interlacing and pushing my head into my hands here, front of the neck working. Releasing. Breathing in, breathing out. That's good. And one more time. Beautiful. Release. And then I'll go ahead and bring my hand over to the right side of my face, like up by the cheekbone temple area. And without tilting my head, I'm just pushing my head into my hand, side neck working, and releasing a few times here. I've been doing these every day, and it is making such a huge difference. And then we'll tend to the other side whenever you're ready. A lot of you who attended the makeup classes in the fall commented that the neck exercises were super helpful for you. So that's one of the reasons why I'm going to be continuing them. Also, it's good for me. So what's good for me is good for you, right? From here, we'll move a little bit more. So bringing the arms down at the sides, taking that nice, wide, broad collarbone, like as if the thumbs were back behind you. And inhaling the arms up as far as feels safe for you today, hands coming to heart center. Beautiful. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, release. So impressive, Kathy. I am just astounded. Big, beautiful arm salutes and releasing. And you could even close the eyes here because the mind-body connection is what we're after. So when we combine the breath with movement, that is where the magic happens, my friends. Maybe we take 3 more, or maybe you're done. It's totally up to you. This is your practice. Really good, Denise. And then I'm bringing my hands to heart center in that gesture of Anjali Mudra, which is divine salutation. And just for a moment, I'd like you to hold in your mind's eye all of your fellow chair yogis and yoginis at this time, and sending each other wellness, well wishes, health and well-being, love and connection. Great. Let's interlace the fingers. Thank you for those well wishes. I think I felt some of them coming through. I'm going to interlace my fingers and press my palms away. If this feels too intense, you can bring the palms to face you. Okay? If you want a little more of a stretch, the palms can face forward. You could stay right here, or you might lift the arms up a little higher. See how that feels. See how high you can go. If there's any discomfort there, just notice that, breathe through it, or release out of it. Pressing through the feet, pressing through the palms. Big breath in. That's great, Ted. And then we'll release the arms down at the sides. And I'm going to bring my right hand behind my back, palm facing away from my body. And I'm just going to tilt my left ear towards my left shoulder. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in. It's good, Cindy. Breathing out. And releasing from there. Again, I'll interlace my fingers, press the palms away, or keep the palms facing towards me. Breathing in, arms rise to whatever degree feels safe. That's good. And then we'll release the arms down. I'm going to bring my left hand behind my back, if that's possible for me, palm facing away, and just tilting my right ear towards my right shoulder. Breath in, breath out. Breath in, breath out. Okay, beautiful, guys. And then releasing the hands. I'll bring some space between my feet to kind of get a little bit of something different going on in my lower limbs. Picking up my heels, picking up my toes, picking up my heels, picking up my toes. Yeah, that's good, Judy. And then I'll release my feet down. And I'm, really rooting down through my sit bones here and noticing my weight. And then I'll begin to bring a little bit of flowing movement and circle my torso in one direction. It could be a really small circle, or it might be a really big circle, or something in between. Finding my breath and noticing where the effort shows up for me. And if I can maybe even incorporate a little bit of rounding and arching of my spine in this movement as I come to the other direction. Kind of waking up the spine. That's good. Love it, Steph. Really, really nice, Pat. And then we'll come back to neutral. And I'm going to bring my right hand inside my right knee and lift that left arm up as far as feels safe for me. So I'm looking for a side stretch here. If the arm or shoulder does not want to go with you, you can bring the hand onto the hip and still get a lot of beautiful side movement here, right? So my torso is moving. It's not so much my head and my neck, right? My head and my neck might be upright. Good. Big breath in. And release. Left hand inside that left knee. Inhale the right arm out to the side or onto the hip or overhead. Lots of choices here. There's almost a little twist to the right. And release. And we'll do a couple more on each side, maybe moving a little more quickly. Breathing in, left arm lifts. Breathing out, release down. Breathing in, right arm lifts. Exhale, release down. Last one, inhale, left arm lifts. Exhale, release down. Beautiful. And now, bringing the arms out to the sides in your cactus pose. And it's effort to sit here with the legs open like this. Am I right? It is for me. I can feel it. And I'm going to bring a big squeeze to I'm going to make strong fists right now. Strong fists. And then I'm going to flick the fingers away from the palms. Make a nice strong fist. Flick the fingers. Good. And then I'm going to choose whether I want to have a nice open palm or I want to keep my fists. And what I'll do is begin to squeeze my shoulder blades together and bring my elbows back behind me and then release to neutral. And maybe this is just the one side for you, Kathy, today, right? Seeing how this feels, because this is a lot for the shoulders. Good. Inhaling, elbows back, squeeze the shoulder blades. Exhale, release to center. Maybe we do two more here. Breathing in, breathing out. Can you turn on those muscles, right? Those muscles in between the shoulder blades. Good, good, good. That's great, Mimi. And then we're going to release out of this. Walk the feet back together. And let's take a little, what are those? The rockettes. Let's take a little rockette kick. Just juicing up the joints in the lower limbs. Seeing what feels possible for you today. If you need to grab onto your chair for support, that's great. And then whenever you're ready, you're going to keep the right leg lifted and circle the right ankle in one direction and the other direction. That's great. I mean, I assume it's great. I can't see most of your ankles. And then releasing, we'll lift the left leg up. circling in one direction and then the other. Great, guys. And then we'll go ahead and cross that right ankle over the left knee. As we want to open up the hips before we do our warrior two, because it can put some strain on the hips. Or not open up the hips, stretch the hips, I should say. So grabbing onto my shin, I might give my foot a little rub while I'm here. And I hope, Steph, I just hope down in Florida you're walking around barefoot a lot. Well, sometimes, you know, with the things that you have going on, right? Gonna grab onto that shin, take a breath in, and as I exhale, reach the heart forward, hinging at the hip, right? So this is definitely one of the things that is better in the chair for some of us. I think, Ted, you might find this is better in the chair sometimes, and this is something you can practice, you know, to bring more flexibility into the hip. All right, and then we're gonna sit up nice and tall and cross that leg over, open the arms out to the sides and take a big breath in. Exhale, pulse to the right, using the abdominal muscles. Inhale, center. Exhale, pulse to the right again. Maybe go a little farther this time. Inhale, center. Last time, pulsing to the right. You got it. I like that. Windmills over at the Hayward's house. Coming back to center and releasing and switching all of that over to the other side. So bringing my, let's see, I have to really think about that. Left ankle over my right leg, my right knee, or whatever feels best. Saying hello to my foot. Thank you for carrying me around all the time, and I don't even notice you unless you're in pain, right? And then I'll grab on to my shin or my knee. This side could feel different, so just taking it slow, breathing in. Exhale, reach forward with the heart hinging at the hip to whatever degree feels safe. And I'm keeping my, I'm not really, you know, rounding the back or tucking my chin. I'm keeping that length in the back of my neck. That's good. Breathing in. Breathing out. It's a lot of sensation. You got it, Mary Clark. Good. Looks good on this side, Ted. And then we'll release up to center and cross the knee all the way over. Open the arms out to the sides. Breath in. Exhale, twist to the left. Inhale to the center. Exhale, pulse to the left. Use those abs. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist to the left. Beautiful partner yoga happening at the Hayward's house. And then we'll release everything back to center. And now I'm going to tackle a warrior two pose in my chair. If you just are dying to get up out of your chair and practice this, you know, on your mat, that's totally fine with me. I want to invite you to try it though, at least in the seated posture, because it does something a little bit differently for me. It's pretty challenging actually. So I'm going to bring my right foot over to the right. And then I'll sweep my left leg out to the left. My hips and my torso are still pointing straight ahead. If this feels too intense on the left hip, you can just sweep the leg forward. And then from here, I'm going to inhale my arms out to the sides. And notice if I'm just kind of hanging out here with no effort in my leg muscles, I might try to really strengthen my leg muscles along the bones, and same with the arms as well. And then I'll peek over that right hand, but just know you don't have to go as far with the neck if you're having any neck issues today. And reminding yourself again, why am I here today? Why am I doing yoga? What do I hope to achieve? Big breath in, breath out. And then releasing the arms down. Nice, guys, really nice. And then from here, I'm just gonna walk my right foot a little bit farther in and then lift my left toes up. So I'm in a little bit of a less of an angle with my legs, and I've got my left toes lifted, and I'm gonna stretch down my left leg and come back up. right? So I'm not leaning into it. I'm using my torso for this stretch. So you might feel this at the lower back. You might feel this in the lower back. And you might go farther than I'm going, right? It's not about how far you can go. It's really about that sort of integrity of the movement. And maybe one more. It's just a little one here. It's almost like a triangle pose. And then we'll release. And we'll walk both feet to center, take a little march in place, and then I'll bring my left leg over to the left and sweep my right leg out behind me. Right? If this feels too intense, you can always bend the knee slightly, or you can always bring the foot forward. Yeah, so I'm trying to keep my torso nice and upright and pointing straight ahead. How does that feel, guys? You feel that openness in the hips? Yes. Opening the arms out to the sides. I'm hugging the muscles along my leg and arm bones for a little extra. Maybe my palms point down, or maybe I want to try a little thumbs up while I'm here. Thumbs up, thumbs back. And with the thumbs back, maybe I can feel the openness across my chest, and then keeping that openness across the chest and external rotation of the shoulders, I'm going to place my palms to face down and see how, if I can kind of do those two things at the same time, peeking over my left shoulder to whatever degree feels safe. Big breath in, big breath out. That's great, Leslie. All right, you got it, Kathy. Taking care of you. Mary Jo, nice. You got it. So beautiful, Steph. And one more breath. And then we'll release out of here. That's good. I'll walk my left foot in a little bit, and then I'll bring my right toes to point straight up, so it's less intense in my hips. And I'm just going to stretch down my right leg and come back up. It's just a really small movement, and I feel a lot of this in the left side of my lower back and my left hip. You might feel it somewhere else. So hoping those of you who have, who are working on hip flexibility can incorporate, the hip stretch that we did is great, which you're probably already doing, Mary Jo, and the PT you're doing. You're probably doing it lying on the back. And then these poses they're great because they're not putting all that stress in the hips because they're seated. All right, taking a little walk, and then we're going to get ready to stand up, which is optional, of course, if you're feeling low energy today. But most of you put a lot of digits up there with the energy level. So I'm going to take my hands into my lap and very slowly and mindfully come to stands. And as you come to stand, you might take a moment to take a sip of water or coffee or whatever you have going on in your house. So even with just the movements we've done this morning, I really feel my hips have gotten some work. They've gotten some lubrication. And so I'm just going to bring some hip circles into the mix here as well. Circling my hip in one direction and the other, and just sort of noticing, do I feel anything clicking or popping in there? Hopefully not. Sometimes I do. Hi, Joe. I wasn't able to see you for the seated stuff, and now I can see the top of your head. So it's so nice to see you. All right. And then from here, I'll just bring my feet hips width distance apart, and I might grab onto my chair for this. I might turn and face my chair and have both hands on the chair. Totally up to you. I'm going to lift all 10 toes, spread them nice and wide, and plant them back down. And lift all 10 toes, spread them nice and wide, plant them back down. Yep, that's exactly where we're headed, Ted. We're going to lift up onto the tiptoes and release down nice and slow. Breathing in, lifting up. Breathing out, release down slowly. You could keep the hands on the chair, or maybe you start to play with taking one or both hands off. And if you felt like incorporating some arm movement, that's available for you as well. Maybe one arm on the chair, one arm lift. Yeah, that's good. Breathing in, breathing out. Nice and easy. Breathing in, breathing out. Inhaling one more time, And exhaling nice and slow. All right, you've got it. I'm going to take my hands to the back of my chair, walk my feet back, and find my version of a downward facing dog. Okay, so some of you might want to do this with the front of the chair instead, if you can get down lower. Or if you're experiencing tightness in the hamstrings, you might bend the knees softly. Yeah, that's right, Ted. You might keep your head lifted if you've got glaucoma or if you get dizzy easily. For me, in this stretch, I'm always looking to experience length in my spine and the breath at the back of the body. That's good. Taking a breath in, holding your down dog. And then when you're ready, coming up really slowly. And as I come up, I'm going to step my right foot forward and bring my left foot back at a little bit of an angle. I'm going to bend and straighten into my right knee. Bending and straightening into my right knee. Maybe a little bit of a longer stance there, Ted. A little bit longer that way, yeah. And you might feel this in the left hip. Keeping my right knee bent. I'm going to see if I can pull my belly towards my spine and engage this left glute muscle. So I'm really solid, really anchored down. And then from here, I'm going to lift my left arm up, over and back. Or I could just keep my hand at heart center. Right? Options. Breathing in, breathing out. It's almost like I'm lifting something up and then I'm bowling on the exhalation. I haven't been bowling in a really long time. All right, that's good, Cindy. Maybe one more. You got it, Kathy. And then we're releasing the hand to the back of the chair, and I'm going to shorten my stance now. Both legs are straight. And I'll take a bow over my chair. So taking a breath in, as I exhale, I'll reach forward with the heart, and I might just rest my forearms on the back of the chair. This might feel like enough, or you might be able to get down a little bit farther, tensing the fingertips on the seat of the chair. Totally up to you. I'm placing weight in both of my feet, pulling my belly up towards my spine, and just breathing here into our pyramid bow. That's good, Pat. And then making my way up nice and slow, I'll bring some weight into this right foot, and as I'm ready, I'm going to float the left leg up a few times. And it might be just an inch off the ground. Right? It might be a while that I've moved this way, so taking good care. If I feel like a little more solid today, I might keep my left leg lifted and maybe bring one hand onto my heart. Big breath in. And then I'm releasing all of that and coming back to my standing posture. That's good, Ted. Big breath in. And then left foot forward, right foot back. Little bit of an angle to that right foot. I'll bend and straighten into my left knee. Notice the right hip. And then I'll keep that left knee bent. Pull my belly in towards my spine. Engage the right glute muscle, and we're ready to rock and roll. Inhale that right arm up and back. Inhaling and exhaling at your own pace. If you prefer a more stationary, non-movement of the arm, that's totally fine. You're still getting so much in the legs. That's great, Mimi. You got it, Denise. And maybe one more. Love it, Leslie. Bringing my hand to the back of the chair, shortening the stance, straightening both legs, and taking that bow over my chair. I've got that nice, active left thigh, left leg muscle, front of the thigh, pushing weight into both feet, and then just exploring what is my stretch here, what is my range here in my pyramid shape. Breathing in. Breathing out. Maybe one more like that. And if this doesn't feel right to you, don't do it, right? That's good, Mary Jo. Little hand wiggle there. And then we'll come back up nice and slow, and you know where we're going. We're placing the weight in the left foot and then lifting the right leg up. A couple little floats. I'm trying to keep my hips level with each other rather than stacking the hips. And this is nice for back strengthening, right? And I might keep my leg lifted if it's in my practice today. I might place one hand on the heart and take a breath in. And then releasing out of that nice and slow. And then we'll walk it out, dance it out. Whatever movement feels good to you, right? Maybe it's just a little hip shake, a hula hoop. Maybe it's an opposite arm, opposite leg type of dance. You know that in all of my classes, I like to encourage you to listen to what your body feels like doing and get a little funky. All right, so many of you, I will assume, will check the improved balance. I hope that was on there. If it wasn't on there, I'll make sure it's on there, but on the intake form. So I'm going to bring my feet together, and then I'll step the right foot in front of the left, take a little bend to both knees. So I'm walking on my imaginary balance beam, but I'm going to stay right here. One foot in front of the other, heel to toe. And I'm going to just challenge myself to bring one or both hands up off the chair. Pushing the feet away from each other and pulling my belly in helps me stay strong here. That's good. Finding your breath. If you want a little more challenge, you could close the eyes or move the eyes right to left. Yeah, that's good, Kathy. So good. And then when you're ready to come out of your balance beam, come back, feet together, stepping that left foot forward, soft bend to the knees, feet are heel to toe. You're walking on that imaginary balance beam, and then you can see what works for you. I like to, when I'm out or in, walk along an imaginary line of like the pattern in a carpet or the curb. So I really love the balance beam work. Moving your eyes if you like, closing your eyes if you like. Yeah, moving your arms too. That's great, Bill. And then when you're ready, you can release out of that, walk it out. And we'll take our tree pose. So I'm coming around to the left side of my chair, and I want to feel this chair at my hip. If I'm really tired and I need to sit down, go for it, okay? You can work on 3-part breath. Little bendy bounce, weight will come into that right foot. I'll pick up my left heel, open my knee to the side, and this might be where I stay. Or I could bring my foot up higher to whatever degree feels best for me. And then I'm going to zip up my core and bring my left hand onto my heart, right? Or the hands to heart center. Right? Maybe that right hand comes up for a millisecond or two. Maybe you play around with finding your edge. So tall. Yeah, maybe you play around with what you're doing with your arms. Strong branches. That's great, Sue. Really nice. All right. And then we'll release. Kick out the left leg, right leg. All right. Hope that shoulder's okay there, Cindy. We'll come around to the other side. This is our last standing pose, okay? So let's make it the best one yet. I'm going to sway my hip here so I can feel the chair at my left hip. Little bendy bounce. Weight will come into the left foot. Pick up the right heel, open the knee to the side. And this might be where you stay. If you're caring for hip issues, sometimes the standing balance can put a lot of pressure in that hip, so you might not stay as long. Zip up the core, Rest the right hand on the heart. Maybe you challenge yourself by bringing both hands up off the chair. Right? Maybe there's a wall there to support you. Maybe you want to play around with what the arms are doing. If you're somebody who experiences high blood pressure, we're going to be mindful of keeping the arms up for longer periods, right? So if that's you, breathing in, breathing out. And when you're ready, nice. I like it, Leslie. Release, kick it out. And we'll come around to the front of the chair. Maybe take that one more sip of water, and then we're going to take a slow elevator down to the chair. Before you sit down all the way, feeling the chair with the legs first. I'm going to take a soft bend to my knees. So this is an optional pose. If you're tired and you feel like you're ready to just sit, you can go for it. If you want to try chair pose with me, here it is. Soft bend to the knees. Bring the hips back. All right, so you can see from the side. Soft bend to the knees, hips are back. Nice long spine. I'm really working hard in my glute muscles and in my back, and then the arms can come forward. I'll take a breath in. And as I exhale, I'll sink a little deeper. Big breath in, pull the belly in. Sink a little deeper. That's great, Joe. And one more. Exhale, release the arms, find the chair, sit on down. Yeah. And then we'll kick it out a little bit. All right. And then if it's in your practice today, you might find your block. Place the block on the ground in front of you. And step your feet up with the soles of the feet pressing towards one another and the knees just gently resting to the sides. Coming into our bound angle pose. And a little bit of breathing here. Right, so we're going to return to the three-part breath, and then we're going to do a little bit more bees breath than we did at the beginning. So finding a tall spine. Of course, if this bound angle is too distracting for you, you can always release it. When we get to bees breath, we're going to release it. So just finding your tall spine and noticing how you're doing now. Where you feel the energy moving in your body. How the breath feels. As you take that breath in through the nose and out through the nose or mouth. Just finding some smooth, easy breaths. And then you might find the breath moving down into the belly. Taking a breath into the side ribs. A breath into the chest. And then putting that all together if it feels good for you. Breathing into the belly, side ribs, chest, releasing back down. Inhale, belly, side ribs, chest, and release. You could always just focus on one area if that feels better. But I'm bringing my awareness to these parts of the body, even if I can't feel the breath there. And over time, this gets easier and easier. You might take one or two more breaths like this into the belly, side ribs, chest, and releasing. And then when you're ready, you can rest the feet on the earth. Sometimes I like to feel that block between my feet, a little extra anchoring down. I find my tall spine make any other movements my body's asking for. And if it's in your practice, resting a hand on my heart, hand on my belly, or both hands on the heart. Coming to find my bee's breath, which is so, so great for immune system function as it helps deliver an important antimicrobial, antibacterial molecule to the respiratory system. When we hum, this molecule oscillates more quickly, and then when we breathe it back in, there's the delivery to our respiratory system. So breathing in through the nose, and on the exhalation, keeping the mouth closed and creating a humming sound, like that of a bee. A few more like this. And when you're ready, resting the hands at heart center and just for a moment allowing those vibrations to reverberate throughout your body. And then holding in your mind's eye this group that we are cultivating, this community of fellow chair yogis and yoginis, and sending our well wishes out to one another. And then being open to receiving those well wishes. And if you like, joining me by sealing the class with one single Om, inhaling for Om. Thanking you so much for your practice this morning. Namaste. Feel free to stick around for a 10-minute or so community chat.